Betrayal paid off. Harry trapped in hell of his own making after mortal verdict finally out. Harry is an architect of his own demise. He can't credibly claim no knowledge of the Crown before cutting that deal with Netflix. As Netflix prepares to drop season 5 of The Crown, which covers his parents' bitter bust-up and Princess Diana's untimely death, Harry can't say a thing. After Mexiting the United Kingdom in 2020, Harry and Meghan took a reported $100 million payday from Netflix. By their telling, they desperately needed all that money to escape their royal duties and crushing fame. How terrible it must be for Harry now to rely on that same evil media for his paycheck. As we've seen, the Crown's showrunners are actively making stuff up. Dark, hurtful, reputation-soiling stuff. Diana was chauffeured that night by a speeding drunk driver. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Had she been, the official investigation found she would have had an 80% chance of surviving. She was urged not to give up a royal security detail, but she'd done so anyway. Her death was wholly preventable and not racially motivated. In fact, we now know that Diana had recently split with the love of her life, a Pakistani heart surgeon she'd secretly been seeing, and was possibly playing up a relationship with Dodi Fayed, that's someone who wasn't white, to make her ex-boyfriend jealous. It was a dangerous game that ended tragically. The notion that Princess Diana was a hunted figure who just wanted to be left alone, well, we've long known that was fiction. Yet, her son and his bride still cling to that narrative for themselves. Hunted, persecuted, moved to Montecito to be left alone. Never before has the Crown seemed camp, and it's long overdue. Harry and Meghan's Netflix overlords are going to make these two earn every last cent of their payday. Anyone who saw Harry's demeanour at the Queen's funeral ceremonies would know how his miseries have been compounded. The weight of all his poor decision-making, slinging and co-signing the vile accusations his wife has made against his family and the entire royal establishment, even as his grandfather was on his deathbed and his beloved grandmother was shouldering it all, has finally registered. Harry is an outcast, his presence merely tolerated both within the family and without. So now, as Harry waits for King Charles to decide whether his children get royal titles, which he and Meghan so badly want, Harry can't strike back against the Crown no matter how poorly they depict his family. Furthermore, Prince Harry and Andrew's royal duties have been discussed in Parliament for the first time. Peers in the House of Lords have been asking whether the royal pair should remain as Counsellors of State. This role means they can act as stand-ins for the King, but they're both no longer working royals. It is the first time the roles of the Duke of Sussex and the Duke of York as councillors has been raised in Parliament. Their roles have been scrutinised since Harry and Meghan moved their lives to California and Andrew became consumed by a sexual assault lawsuit, which he disputed before later settling out of court. The Duke of Sussex's tell-all book will be released on January the 10th after being pushed back from an autumn release date. Alongside that, it's been claimed the prince battled to water down its content after the tragic death of the Queen. The memoir had originally been signed off for an expected autumn release as a part of his multi-million-pound 3-book deal with Penguin Random House. But when the Queen died, its release was delayed, and the Duke made a number of requests to alter its contents.